My name is Baker Brainard, and welcome to my market project. So to start, the image on the left is an aerial view of Barcelona, showing you that you're never very far from a market, and markets are very important to Barcelona because they don't really have supermarkets or grocery stores. Markets are their main source of food. The pictures on the right are weather charts. On the top, you'll see that the climate of Barcelona is very Mediterranean, and the temperatures year round are very comfortable and never gets too cold or too hot. The chart on the bottom is prevailing winds. It's a windrows chart. So that'll come into play later when you see my design. After this, we go to the existing floor plan and existing section of the site that is there now. There is a metal structure that currently exists that will be taken down, but part of it will be kept. It's remnants of the market that used to remain on the site. After that, you'll see a precedent study of the Figueres market, which I studied at the beginning of the semester. I wanted to include this project because it was very important to my design, where the entire structure itself is raised, that there's only columns and vertical circulation on the ground floor. So it's really just offering protection for the people who use it, and it's not so much an enclosed space. After that, you'll start to see conceptual models that I built. Neither one really played a huge importance in my design, but they did both play aspects in it. On the top, I started to cut out pieces of this cubular form to create these voids. And on the bottom, I'm not really sure what I was going with, but once I started to create a roof structure, which I did end up using in my final design. After that, you'll see my last conceptual design before moving to the final design, and that would be these masses that directly correspond to the buildings across from them, and the spaces and how wide these masses are also correlate to how wide the spaces are across from them. So the height and width of the spaces that the masses create do correspond to the building across from them to gain context from Barcelona. Next, you'll see the ground floor plan. The corners of the site I opened up because the street corner in Barcelona is very compact. It's very claustrophobic, and I didn't want my market to continue that. So the corners open up to each street corner, allowing it to be opened up on the site. The circulation through the ground floor makes you weave through the market space, so you're seeing all these stalls and everything that people have to sell. The large green space in the center is a landscaped lounge area, sort of as an escape from the concrete oasis of a large city. I've seen it lots of parks. I love it. I think it works very well. I am still looking into what material that would be. Barcelona doesn't allow for large grass areas because then it would need fertilizer, it would need mowed, it's too much to maintain and upkeep. So I'm looking at turf or some other artificial grass area. If anyone would have any suggestions, that would be great. Next is the second floor, where you'll see permanent retail space for small business owners who want to set up a more permanent spot. So for the people on the ground floor, if they have more to sell than just what they can bring on market days, they can buy one of these smaller retail spots and turn it into a permanent store. You'll also see that the restrooms on the bottom right are very open. It's like that on the ground, second and third floor, allowing for safety, very easily seen. It's just a collection of unisex stalls and then a large sink countertop. Next, you'll see the third floor plan, which is where most of the programming for the neighborhood comes into place. There's two educational areas, a greenhouse, a garden, and a cafe. The education is for the people in the surrounding area. The Barcelona Market Group has wanted to incorporate this into the market programming. They can teach the people of Barcelona how to cook their own food, how to grow their own food, really educate the people of Barcelona on healthy eating habits. Next, you'll see the roof plan, where each roof is a green roof to help offset carbon emissions from the building and construction. After my floor plans, we'll move on to the elevations and sections. In these elevations, it's much easier to see that the ground floor only consists of structure, vertical circulation, and that market space in the courtyard. Because I really liked that from Figueres Market and wanted to incorporate that into mine. Next, you'll see my program diagrams, bringing that back from earlier, that the ground floor is market, you move up to a more permanent market retail space, and then a mixed use education green space. Next, you'll see my sections. In the short section specifically, you'll see a truss structure, which is from the existing market that was there before, and the bones that are currently left of it on the site. So I kept a few of the trusses and just raised them to cover half of my courtyard. Next, you'll see in the longer section, it's much easier to see how these spaces directly correspond to the buildings across from them, and it pulls the height and width of these masses from its surrounding context. In my enlarged detailed section, you'll see components of a green roof and then also see a number of components 1 through 8 of typical items that are in my building structurally. In my sunlight analysis, you'll see that the courtyard is only really shaded during winter, and even then it's not fully shaded, only about 75%. And next, in my structure isometric, you'll see a wireframe, much easier to read drawing of the structure in my market. And then next, you'll see lots of views and renders that I have. The first two being street views, which really help you see these corners and how open and inviting I made them in my design. Then an overall building view, another one with a few textures, shading, of course, and then intro into my perspectives. This first one is a very large, it's that main market space with the mezzanine, and you can see into the courtyard. The second one is the corner opposite from it, which feels very tight, but you can still see the structure above it. And then you'll see two large views taken from the top floor of my market. One looking more so into the courtyard and next to the restrooms, and the other one being on top of that garden looking towards the greenhouse and across from where you were just at for the view before this. Thank you so much.